Hey guys, good morning. Today we'll be discussing about Notos, who's this rotation's ML5. It's about to end, so maybe you guys want to pick him up. He's really good. So Notos is a boss monster or boss ML5 wherein you can get his imprints for free through golden transmit stones. Although it costs 10 for one imprint, once you hit SSS imprint, the amount of stats you get from just a self imprint alone is kind of justifiable if you can afford it. So Notos is a knight, and a cancer. So there's only one ML5 who falls under the same category of constellation and class, and that is Empyrean Ilinov. So from what you can, based from that kind of grouping, we can assume that the stats that they have are notoriously to be slow, as well as having a lot of bulk. And that tells us how typically you're allowed to build him, or how it urges you towards a certain build archetype. So Notos, the god of battle devoted solely to honorable combat, who reclaimed his divinity through his own power. If you played epicseven for the past few years, you've seen Notos pop up here and there whenever you do the arena story or arena event. And it's really cool that we finally get to see him in his whole glory, and look at those squads. So just let's look through the current rating. Right now we can see it's at 4.8. So the general consensus is that Notos is a really good unit to pick up, and we have less than a day to pick him up. So maybe this video can help you, or at least urge you to pull him. So let's preview his skills. Some things to note is that Notos is low, and because of that, some of his kits allow him to play a bit faster, because he punches people just based from his visuals. Okay, let's look at this skill 2 and then proceed from there. So Notos skill 2 is a passive wherein Blaze of Battle, and you can see it acquires 1 soul, but at the moment in his base form you don't get that soul acquisition. So Notos on his base form is unaffected by combat readiness, increase and decrease effects. So you can't see or push him, you can't see or decrease him. So there's a reason why this happens. His skill 3, God's Might, acquires 3 souls, has a cooldown of 7 turns, originally from 6, grants God of Battle. God of Battle is a unique effect, so you can't dispel it, you can't dispel it. And what it says is all stats are doubled. Dispelled at the end of battle. All stats including crit rate, crit damage, speed, attack, HP, def, EFRS, F, all of that jazz. And it creates a Sanctuary of Battle. So let's continue on this. Grants God of Battle to the caster for 3 turns and fully recovers health. While God of Battle is maintained, changes the battlefield into the Sanctuary of Battle, which is in the Sanctuary of Battle, all heroes are immune to buffs and debuffs. So all of the passives, other than the unique passives, are dispelled. So for example, when you're fighting against Genesis Ras, they don't have the ability to revive through his passive buff. So that really tells us how impactful Notos is and how he is being used in the current meta, wherein he takes his turn, he goes in, stops everyone from doing other shenanigans if they have passives, if they have their own buffs or debuffs, and blue debuffs, for example, and begins the first battle with a full skill cooldown. So when you start the battle, if and only if you don't have Warfare set, he will always start his combat with 7 turns on his cooldown S3. So what happens if we hit the skill tree and activate God's Might? So on the second paragraph here, God of Battle attacks the enemy with that transcendent power, penetrates target's defense by 50%, and damages dealt increases proportional to max HP. So how this tells us is that you should build Notos 50% crit chance and a lot of health, as well as defense stats, of course, to try to hit a certain threshold or at least a certain ratio wherein he doesn't die at the start of combat because he is innately slow. And the soul burn effect is on skill 2 once you have the God of Battle activated. Increases damage dealt, consumes 10 souls. This deals a lot of damage, 50% def pen. What can you ask more? This can absolutely destroy any characters with def resistance, especially those with like Empyrean Ilinov who has that buff that they provide, which is in indomitable, I believe. So let's go straight here to skill 1. Skill 1 is Divinity Release. You acquire 1 soul as always. As Notos attacks the enemy with Divinity and has 75% to inflict decreased defense for 1 turn. Proportional scales with max HP. So as for the second part, God of Battle. So this whenever you have God of Battle unique passive activated, attacks the enemy and deals additional damage proportional to the caster's max health and scales with max health. So let's see it in actuality. With skill 3 here, as you can see, it changes the entire combat arena. And now we have skill 2 God of Battle portion here activated. So let's see the damage here for skill 2 alone.
Show me how much you can
We can't see the damage here, but let's just show how cool the animations are.
May this
100 here. If we skull burn here on skill 2,
my greatest honor. Take pride as you depart.
it still shows 100, but that's on
I won. Can you handle this? Finding a worthy foe is more work than I thought.
okay. Now that 3 turns have ended, we go back to his base form, and we now have to wait his rotation to come back again for God's Might. So that's a quick jump around, well, not necessarily quick, a quick look around to how his kit works. So let's look at his build suggestions. So if I were going to give you a skill imprints, skill enhancements, it would be max your skill 2, max your skill 3, and then max your skill 1. Generally speaking, Notos is a plus 15 unit as he utilizes most of the entire kits. And the way you increase his damage other than like increasing his max HP is through the skill enhancements over here. So he benefits a lot, in my opinion, from getting plus 15. Okay, let's talk about his overall recommended set. Because Notos skill 3 comes on cooldown on the start of the battle, he only gets 7 turns of his S3 not being up. He benefits a lot from using Warfare Set. So Warfare Set on 4-piece increases health by 20% at the start of battle, resets skill cooldowns. In that way, we get his skill 3 up front at the start of combat. Now, what kind of stats do you want for Notos? He benefits a lot from getting health and crit chance. So what you want to do is that you want to hit crit chance percent at 50% because of the fact that skill 3 grants him crit chance, doubles his stats from 50% to 100%. And that's pretty much it. You want him to have a lot of health, you want him at least 50% crit chance, and you have to overall just give him bulkier stats. So here I have 3 speed, crit chance, F. I'll probably mod off the F. And health over here. Same over here. I have to mod this health as well. So you must be wondering, why did I give Notos speed? Because it's quite simple. If he doesn't take his turn, what is he going to do? Because he isn't affected by CR manipulation. You can't push him up to do his skill 3, nor can you decrease it. He will eventually trudge along the entire CR bar. So what is ideal is that you run him through speed main stat for boots, and then the rest is probably just getting health percent on main stats on both the necklace and the rings. Oh, I forgot about talking about this other 2-piece set. So what you would ideally want to run is going for immunity as a second set. I've seen some people run penetration. I've seen some people run HP. But if you want to be able to ensure that Notos takes his turn and do his skill 3 rotation, you want to get immunity so that he gets a defensive layer of not being debuffed to the sky. So, in the event that your Notos dies, what are the things to allow his artifacts to aid him in combat? One big thing that people have been running is Holy Sacrifice. In the event that Notos is not able to get his turn, you'll get at least one more chance to allow him to do his skill tree and pop everyone off to outer space. So having a maximum max leveled Holy Sac allows us to revive him with Barrier and give him another chance to smack them. Another good options would be probably Proof of Valor, wherein we're able to bulk him up so that he survives a lot longer. So some quick things about Notos is that he's a newer ML5, especially being a boss ML5, he gets his own illustrations once you hit a Friendship 10. So ideally, hit your Friendship 10 and get this cool background for your lobby. So that's it with the video. Appreciate you guys a lot and have a nice day. Oh, by the way, if you want to pull Notos, you should probably pull Notos. It's really strong. Incoming character Salome is really strong as well. So maybe consider picking one or the other. But I do recommend pulling Notos. That's it, guys. Have a nice day.